country artist George Strait to replace Bad Bunny for the halftime show. Here's James Taylor, a black politics professor at the University of San Francisco.
People are choosing to make the halftime show site the site of contention around what should be presented to America as American culture.
Supporters say the show should honor American music roots. Former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre's new book, Independent, reflects on her time in the Biden administration and the Democratic Party's dysfunction leading to its 2024 defeat. She's also defending former President Biden against claims about his mental acuity. And Indiana Pacers rookie Cam Jones was arrested after a brief police chase on I-65 in Indianapolis. He's charged with felony resisting arrest and reckless driving. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK. WBOK 12:30 a.m. I am Will Sutton, and I'm blessed to have another day to plant my feet on the floor and drive safely over here to our Black Talk radio station. It's wonderful to be with you all. You're hearing my voice. I want you to make sure that we hear your voice. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Well, there's lots of things going on, and those of you who stay tuned every day, you know the Chief Eddie Compass was out sick yesterday. He was out sick, so we want him to get better. Didn't want him to come in and spread all of what he had, and I'm saying had past tense because I'm praying that it's gone by this morning. So he was out yesterday sick. He is not out sick today. He is not out sick today, but he is not sitting next to or near me. But that's okay because he's got another gig that he's taking care of, and that's good for him. And it's okay for us because we've got a special guest host for you today. So let's see. Anybody want to guess? You can tune in on Facebook Live and pop in a guess. You can, if you're listening on AM radio, you can call the talk line 504-582-9422. If you're on internet, wherever you might be in the nation, you can call 504-582-9422. And I'm going to give you, I don't know. I'll give you a couple of hints. So let's see. It's a familiar voice. Somebody who has not only been here before, but been here a lot. Let me see. What else can I tell you? I can tell you that this is a person with a brand that is citywide and beyond. How about that? Citywide and beyond. I can tell you that this is a person of and all up in the culture. How about that? Any guesses? Anybody? Anybody? I can tell you that this person knows things that amazes other people. This person, like, it's not like, reading a book and comprehending and being able to say the storyline and the characters because you just read the book. It's like, how the hell are you pulling this out from 40 years ago? Because that's the kind of thing that can happen coming out of this person's head. Well, let's see. Anybody else got a guess? Oh, I see some people are popping in. And I see Jacqueline has a guess. Let's see. Anybody want to call in and take a guess? 504-582-9422. Let's say city government. How about that? We'll say city government. Is that enough of a hint? All right. I haven't given you any gender. So why don't I hold on to that just for a moment and say, okay, we got a call. So did they hang up? I'd love to know that guess. All right. So let's see. Nah, that's too easy if I say that. So I'm not going to say that. So I will say public school educated. I will say athlete. I will say orator. Actor. Does that throw you off? I will say public servant. I will say I've never looked in the person's phone, but I think I would be amazed even beyond what I think might be in the contact list. Because after all that this life that this person has lived, I am sure that it's pretty darn deep. All right. So, okay, Jacqueline is online guessing. She's got 3 guesses. Got some. Well, I got one guess saying a part-time actor. All right. So let's see. All right. So it's coming up on 10 minutes. So 7:09, folks. Look, every day I want you to be safe because the babies are going to school. Watch those school zones. School zones don't end until 9 o'clock. Watch the babies, even the babies with hair on their face, all right? Because we want all of them to be safe. But let's jump in. Okay, Jacqueline has 3 guesses. Okay, Wendell Pierce. That's an interesting guess. Where's the public servant? Maybe public advocate. As opposed to public service. But certainly Wendell Pierce has done a lot, not just for this community, but for the nation, the world. Let's see. Somebody else is guessing. Jacques Morial. Public servant, certainly all over some of everything as Mr. 411. So that's a good guess. And Jacqueline also says OT. Jacqueline, you're right.
Jacqueline, you win the day.
All right. Good morning, good morning, brother Oliver Thomas.
Happy
back
Wednesday.
in the house on
Good morning.
WBOK.
High five, bell ring. Good morning. Wake up, New Orleans. Happy WBOK Day.
All right. So we got OT in the house. So he's sitting in with me today. And if things go right, maybe he'll come back for tomorrow some part. Well, let's see how today goes. He still has a busy schedule.
Oh, no doubt about it.
He's not going anywhere. And some people want him to be everywhere, even now. So let's get on with it. And how you doing, man?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be you. Right? Of course, getting my butt kicked, first time ever in an election, but, went back to work. We, as KF Toussaint says, we got work to do. This city deserves our best energy and our best effort, and glad to be here this morning, man.
How's it feel?
It feels good. The one thing that I've said during the campaign, and I say every day, is that this place helped shape my brain. And, I speak a lot all over the country. I actually did, I think it was 8 graduations and commencement speeches this year. And much of what I learned have come from guests and listening to people here at the station, man. So I'll be forever indebted. My level of knowledge, institutional and expanded brain, is a product of WBOK and the listening audience. And thank y'all. Love y'all.
All right. Well, I think you know this, but you certainly know that you've been in and on air for years and years and years. And a couple of times you've stepped away, and people, they miss you.
Yeah, well,
they miss you.
Yeah,
but you stepped away for good reason.
Yeah, sometimes I was pushed away, not by the people at the listening audience, but politically, the political environment. The one thing I've always tried to do is either keep it 100 or keep my mouth shut. The last time I went away was actually politically forced because ethics complaints kept being filed against me for being here. And as a working class person, I couldn't afford to, lawyers and to keep, charges and stuff. And so it was, I miss this, and I don't want to say this gig because it was a labor of love.
Yeah, right.
I miss it. I miss all my co-hosts. And I'm looking forward to talking with you. There's a lot to talk about.
There is a lot to talk about, lots of things to talk about today, but we are happy that you said yes to the call to come on in bright and early. I'm sure after the campaign you weren't getting up so early and going somewhere on some day.
Yeah. I'm a little programmed. I actually, get it from my father, who was always like, man, if you're home, if you're not doing nothing, get up. There's something to do. Then I have Ollie and Willow. Still have to get off to school. So I'm usually up. I've learned to do.
It's not like being on. It's daddy on.
Or getting your brain ready. To go on air. I don't think a lot of people understand if you take this seriously. It's just I don't know a whole lot because I don't read and learn to prepare. And on this show, which Black radio is so important.
It is.
And it's more important now. Given the international, national, and the state and the local environment right now, there's so much uncertainty that sharing of information is going to be more important than it was last year. And every year, every month, every day, it becomes more important to disseminate as much information to our community as possible. And it's different.
It is different.
Different news mediums, the different outlets, different stations. There's a you can listen to this station and get it one way, and then change the dial over to another station and get a whole nother take on the same event.
Yeah.
You get a whole nother narrative
Right.
on the same event. And I will say that WBOK usually gets it right.
Yeah. Yeah. How about that?
How about that?
Well, we certainly appreciate our WBOK family of listeners.
Mhm.
This is a special group, special opportunity, and I think people sometimes get it wrong when they think about WBOK listeners, and they think it's like one type of black folk. It is a diverse group of black folks listening.
Yeah, let me. Then that's an important point, especially for our listening audience, to know the stereotypes don't stop, right? And I've had people from different media outlets, when you listen to their take or when you go on the show, in many cases, man, they will stereotype you because you worked here, were a guest here. I even had somebody try to change the narrative of the conversation. And the other thing is, we have people from different communities who listen to try to see what they can catch,
Absolutely.
or what they can hear,
Yes.
what they can disparage,
Yes.
or what they can learn.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the news stations used to listen to us in our conversations and develop stories on their media outlets just based on the inside information or how we shaped or framed the story here.
I went to an event not long ago. It was a black event,
Mm-hmm.
but a sprinkling of the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a white woman, a professional white woman, well known in some segments of the community. Not everybody recognized the name, but some people would. And she said, "I listen every day."
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. I will never forget being going to visit a relative at the hospital at Oshner several years ago, and an elderly white gentleman and his granddaughter were doing the same. And when we got on the elevator, he said, "Hey, man, you're OT." He said, "I take my granddaughter to school. She spends a lot of time with me.
Mm-hmm.
We go and visit a relative." He said, "We listen to you, and she loved every morning.
Mm-hmm.
We try to put it on so we can catch up with what's happening."
Mm-hmm.
So there are people who genuinely listen for the information. There are those who listen because they won't go run and tell what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There are those who listen because they want to get the stories from the angles that only we can get. And then those who listen because they're trying to listen to see if you can say something that they can use against you.
Well, we're going to have to go to break shortly. Maybe you recall having to take breaks.
Yeah.
But I want to follow up on that point. When WBOK listeners listen, sometimes there are people who looking to get a message out, and we want to help them.
We want, no
because they
doubt
are
about
part
it.
of our community.
Yeah, especially with the substance of the information.
That's right. And sometimes it's an event, and you should know, and then you have the option
That's right.
of going. And sometimes we'll talk about events that are on the same day at the same time,
time.
but that's okay.
Right.
And sometimes there are newsmakers who they decide they're coming here. They're not going to do a news conference where a gaggle of journalists will be gathered to ask questions. They want this audience to hear what they have to say.
No doubt about it, especially if they're looking for a sense of fairness, not to be stereotyped or disparaged. Now, we have some other good shows out there, and we had some other good talk show hosts, but there's specifically a few that have used twisting people's words. And in many cases, their intentions are not honorable. They're trying to see what they can catch to help them disparage to their audience. And unfortunately, I think that happens. But the one thing we don't do is, we don't sit around listening to what other people say. Usually we have that information already, and we put our own narrative and our own stories behind it. I'm saying we, man. I'm back.
Are we breaking some news?
I'm back one day.
Are we breaking some news?
No, ain't no break. We won't break some eggs for breakfast in a minute, but that'll have to be after the show.
All right. You're listening to WBOK, 1230 a.m. You've been listening to Will Sutton and Oliver Thomas, OT.
Good morning, y'all.
Right here on WBOK. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. In just a moment, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about some of the news you need to know, might want to know, should know. You want to make sure that Granny knows and other folks know, because we're going to give it to you in a way that others do not. And you can call and comment. You can call and ask a question. As my daddy used to say decades ago when he was on the radio, you can call and ask a question. We don't know if we'll have an answer, but we'll have a response.
Without a doubt.
All right. WBOK, 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. New Orleans City Council members will hold an emergency meeting today to discuss new revelations about a projected $160 million budget deficit. Yesterday, the council shared its concerns that the city will be unable to make payroll for the remainder of the year. Now they want to hear from the Cantrell administration about what they knew and when. That meeting is scheduled for 3 p.m. inside council chambers. And this morning, New Orleans police are asking for your help finding a man accused of peeping through a child's window. Officials are looking for 32-year-old Vonshay Ross, who they say was caught on camera back in July looking into the bedroom of a child in New Orleans East. If you know where he is, contact Crime Stoppers at 504-822-1111. Then some changes are coming to Carnival season. Rex is moving its reviewing grandstands for Carnival 2026 in front of the Josephine, a renovated former church turned event space on Napoleon Avenue. This follows an issue in 2023 when the Queen missed her toast. And finally, good news for basketball fans. The Pelicans open up regular season play tonight. They will face off against the Grizzlies in Memphis at 7 p.m. The Pels then host the Spurs inside the Smoothie King Center Friday night. That's also at 7. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU. Have a great day.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Kanigra Dion started a YouTube channel during her downtime back in 2019 while she was still working her day job. Today, she's in charge of a full-fledged production house, working with a 50-person team in a 50,000 square foot studio space. The lines between an independent content creator and Hollywood are getting blurred. And Dion says it's people like her that are building the new version of Hollywood.
Every creator that I'm friends with, they truly have employees, they have ideation, everything, like every single part of traditional media, they have a section in that. The only difference is we have learned how to wear multiple hats. I know how to edit, I know how to direct, I know how to do everything. And so I think that's what the biggest growth is that we have learned how to run every single part of the Hollywood business.
Dion there speaking to us at Bloomberg Screen Time in Los Angeles. She recently signed a production deal with Kevin Hart. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Hey, this is Dave Poston. Be sure to listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday evening at 5 p.m., bringing you the best Southern Soul barroom music with the Southern Soul Weekend Party Mix, hosted by me, of course. I'll be playing your favorite Southern Soul music by artists from all over the South, right here on WBOK 1230 AM or online at WBOK1230.com. The station you listen to longer. Listen to longer. Listen to longer.
A message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard Parish? You may be exposed to harmful chemicals like phthalates, BPA, and flame retardants found in everyday products but linked to serious health risks. That's why the community scientist, a program of Rise St. James, brings you clear, science-based facts that protect your health and our environment. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit risestjames.org today.
Meet Leanna, a part-time chef and full-time mom. In the past, Leanna didn't have health insurance because she didn't think she could afford it. What she didn't realize is she qualified for Medicaid. She loves the coverage and peace of mind that comes with high-quality care. The kind of care you get with Healthy Blue. This is Medicaid, and it's for more people than you think. Maybe even you. To see if you qualify, go to myhealthybluela.com.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
WBOK 1230 AM. Those of you who have been listening, you know I am Will Sutton, and you know with me is my extra special brother, Oliver Thomas, OT.
Good morning, New Orleans.
Visit today, and we'll see what happens from there. Well, okay, we're not going to put the pressure on today, but he's got lots and lots to think about and make some decisions. But one thing we do know, he ain't going anywhere.
No, man, New Orleans is my home. When I came back here at the end of 1986 from working and playing ball and chasing that little dream and seeing the country and the world, there was no place like this place. And I tell people all the time, when I left, I wasn't sure about coming back. But when I came back, I was sure I wasn't leaving. Mm-hmm. And this little glorious, grimy place we call home is a cultural mecca. It's a foundation of Afro-Caribbean life and tradition. I always tell people we're the most Afrocentric cultural place, even with all our light-skinned people, right?
Right.
We be African.
We even got light-skinned white people.
We Now, if you understand Chalmette, Metairie, and Violet, and Monroe,
and dark
you know that, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
You know, and Bro Bridge, and Bro Bridge,
it's like,
is you my cousin?
yeah, right.
That's right. No, you dropped the letter at the end.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
We is right. Yeah, no. New Orleans is special, man. And when I got involved in community service, man, I thought there was no better way, especially as someone who was so anti-political, growing up, watching my mom and my aunt, my mom with the unions, communication workers, my aunt Leontine Luke, who founded one of the first political organizations. I just thought that their efforts were so much in vain until you get involved and you see if working inside and with the system, you can make a difference if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, you make your decision.
Right.
And decide.
Right.
There are people who live here all their lives and they basically go to work and go home.
That's right.
And if that's what you want to do, if that's who you want to be, okay. And Lord knows we have far too many people who are not registered to vote.
And we have far too many people who are registered who didn't. When under 40% of the people vote in a major election, especially one that determines or dictates their lives. And I started this view actually on hosting the morning show, man, and co-hosting it, is that I don't know that you blame them, because I think a lot of people really do believe their their non-vote is a vote, but I also think they got it wrong. When you walk into that booth, whether you yay or nay, or whoever it's for, that's the ultimate in taking advantage of the one thing you can't control, your democratic right, the connection to your citizenship. And for folk who don't vote, breaking news right here, the political system ain't mad about that. They're not mad. The folk in power actually appreciate it when you don't vote, especially when they know how to convince enough or have enough resources or enough money to convince enough to keep it their way.
Yep. So let's talk about the big one right now. What the heck has happened? We, not long ago, were talking about the troubles we would have with a $65 million deficit.
Mm-hmm.
Over the course of the weeks and the campaign, you candidates, and not just candidates for mayor, but city council, other positions, talking about the budget, talking about the deficit, and the numbers kept changing and kept growing.
Right.
And some of them were based on what you all were hearing,
being told.
Some of what you're being seeing, and some you're being hearing ahead of any documentation. And so now we're at $160 million deficit. And now we find out the city may not be positioned to pay payroll through the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to be like the federal government and saying you got to work and we don't know if we're going to be able to pay for it?
We shouldn't. Unfortunate. Should not have happened. We were flush with cash with ARPA funds. I mean, of course, that happened before I became elected. And if you'll remember, about a month ago, the budget meeting where Joe Giarrusso said Oliver Thomas asked all the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I understood from using a little history, institutional knowledge, and watching so much speculation around the deficit, I thought it was important to ask those questions. I had watched Jim Singleton ask questions like that, Dorothy Taylor, Joe Giarrusso, the late Giarrusso, Roy Glapion, Peggy Wilson, and many others. And when I asked those questions, I just wanted to get on the record. And the response to each question was no. And that is this looming or projected deficit. Would there be layoffs, furloughs? Would we have trouble meeting payroll? And the CAO at that time, Gilbert Montano, with every question, if you'll remember, he said no. Well, that isn't the case right now. But what I did understand is that when you're dealing with deficits, it's always a projected deficit. So whether it was the 70 million, the 100 million, the 120 plus million people talked about during the campaign of the last few months, it is still projected.
Yeah.
Now, what it really is at some point, that's the work that should have been done, the level of how would I say? The level of commitment on both sides and working relationships and collaboration between the administration and the city council, which is the fiscal agent for the city, but we don't dispose the budget. We dispense of it, right? So folk to get that clear.
Discuss and approve.
And approve, right? And it's up to them to operate and use that budget that the city council approves. But there seemed to be a lot of misinformation, lack of transparency, and we're paying a price for it now. The next administration will ultimately pay a price for it now, and we need to get it right. You know, one of the reasons why I went right back to work, you know, folks said, well, man, OT, why you back at work? Well, you know, we don't have time to sulk in this city or get mad over an election. So if nothing else, from now till the middle of January, I'm going to give it my best effort to make sure that people don't suffer or suffer as little as possible. But it looks like there's going to be some pain. But we're still talking budget projections. But the reality of it is, it looks like there's going to be a significant deficit.
Right. So let's talk about the city workers. I mean, we've got thousands of city workers, and a lot of them look like us.
And we're going to the holidays.
And we're going into Thanksgiving, Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year.
Yes.
Not everybody has the Thanksgiving and Christmas, Kwanzaa plans financially back in April. You kind of, rely on your last quarter of pay and decide what all you're going to get and what all you're going to do. But that can be challenging if your pay is reduced, if your hours are reduced, or if you have to work as an essential worker and not be paid.
In other words, Will saying being forced to work. And it came at such an inopportune time. Look at what's happening with the federal government right now. So many question marks or concerns about funding for different areas where people have jobs that are important. So we're not sure. The lack of a partnership relationship with the state. Our state government operates more like a predator than a partner. I don't understand that because we're their goose that lays the golden egg. I don't know why historically it hasn't always. Historically, with some governors and some legislators, it's been the state versus New Orleans, which is foolish, as Mr. Ralph would say. It doesn't make any sense because I would make the deal with any legislature and any governor. Let us keep everything we generate in Orleans Parish, and we'll never ask you for a penny. But they wouldn't go for that. So we provide too much to have a hostile relationship. And then the economic uncertainty. I mean, the inflation, cost of living right now, especially in urban America, is pushing people not just out of their homes, but into the streets and out of their communities. And I'm talking about working class people now are not just the working poor. I tell folk all the time, and folk who need affordable housing are not just people with subsidies now. The young lawyers and young engineers and young doctors who can't live in the neighborhoods they grew up in. The price of eggs have gone down, but so many other things. The cost of insurance. One of the things about the election that really got to me was all of the questions that people asked city officials that was the state's responsibility. That level of hypocrisy with the media, to me, it's almost like they want to let the state off in many cases, right? And I don't know why they would want to do that because we need a better effort from state officials when you talk about insurance costs. So I actually said at a debate, Will, I said, with the state official who was talking about the city, and I'm like, well, hold on a second. The state is last in economic development, ranked 50th out of all the states. The state is 50th in the well-being of children. The state is 48th in infrastructure. The state is 47th in healthcare. The state is 49th in terms of how we take care of our seniors.
The state.
The state.
The state, not the city.
The state.
The state.
The state is last when you talk about what black women earn on a dollar. The state is yet last when you talk about your minority or disadvantaged community, how they participate. The state has moved up in some cases with education. So how can the state talk about the city? Well, y'all want to save the city when the state is last in more national rankings than is the city. And those things are statistical fact. Now, people didn't hear me or they didn't want to hear me, but that's true. So for state officials to talk about you're going to come here save the city, you got a lot of work left to do at the state level. The state is leading in population loss.
Right.
The state is last in diversity in economic diversity. And so and what are you doing to create more opportunity in per capita wages? So and I just think that the news media, in many cases, by not sharing that kind of information like we do here, and putting pressure on the state to be better at their jobs is doing a disservice to people.
So when constituents ask city candidates and city elected officials about things that really are the state's responsibility, it seems to me that it isn't heard, because these individuals want something done, but they don't see the people who can make that change, with the exception of maybe their state representatives and state senators.
And maybe,
But
people. Yeah, I know state senators that I've never seen at a community meeting.
Yeah,
in my years of service.
Yeah,
I know some are more active than others. I've had people come to me about the school board.
right.
They say, "Hey, man, what are you going to do about the school system?" Well, you voted for a school board member. Why don't you have? So just because you see me, because I'm accessible. There are people who call the mayor or city council people, "Man, why isn't that bridge open?"
Right.
Huh?
Right.
That's your state senator, your state rep. You know, well, what's wrong with South Claiborne? That's a state highway.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to not be like that. There were times when people understood the roles of elected officials, held them accountable. And that's why I say I think in many cases it's a disservice to the media, because the media here shouldn't let the governor or lieutenant governor, our state officials assail New Orleans without reminding them of our state's fiscal, social, economic, health, and educational ranking.
So how often should that be done? I mean, should that be like in every store, by the way, the state is responsible for this or that, or periodically looking at it? I mean, there are some deeper dives into some of these issues where the report makes it clear who's responsible. But with some of the daily news, that doesn't happen as much. And then there's the issue that, you read a lot, but there are people who don't read, so all they get is the 15, 20-second segment or what they hear.
But those things used to happen because there were partnerships and relationships. I remind people in the business community, business council and high-ranking business officials, that when I first started in this business, they used to have meetings. Some of them were private. Some of them were below-the-radar meetings where elected officials, black and white, and folk black and white from the business community would get in the conference room or have a breakfast or a meeting and challenge each other on the roles and responsibilities. This time around, Will, I have not been to a meeting like that other than a political meeting where folk from the business community want to be involved and question you politically, but not sit in the room and talk to you about how we deal with these social ills. How do we improve our lanes without responsibility, from creating opportunity to public policy to how government works? And those things used to happen all the time. I'll never forget, as someone who wasn't elected, but when I came back and I worked for Jim Singleton, where Eric Johnson, I think it was people like Joe Cannizzaro, Merv Trail, many of the notables in the business community were in the meetings called by Bob Tucker, Ken Carter, Singleton and them, and they would cuss and fight about things from race to productivity, but they talked about it.
Yeah.
In this term that I've been elected, never been invited to me. So to have one sector blame the other sector when y'all don't even get in, it's like people talking about the council and the mayor not getting in the room. Well, no, nobody gets in the room anymore unless it's about something that their interest solely. And that's not what used to happen.
Well, we're going to go to a break in a moment. When we come back, we'll be talking more about the news that you want to know about, should know about, definitely need to have in your ears and in your head. We'll also be talking to the chief medical officer from United Healthcare, talking about maternal health and we'll be talking to folks about the CDC's latest recommendations for COVID-19. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But for right now, I'm Will Sutton, and with me is Oliver Thomas, OT. And this is WBOK, 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
After a slightly warmer day for Tuesday, the cold front has passed through. Now we're dealing with some much better feeling weather. It will be on the breezy side as well and becoming mostly sunny as we go throughout the day. High temperatures will be seasonal for this time of the year, looking at the upper 70s to low 80s for us. Staying dry and another nice day for Thursday, looking at weekend rain chances to come. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
You've got responsibilities, but that doesn't mean your dreams are on hold. At Southern University at New Orleans, our evening and weekend college is designed with your life in mind. Finish your degree, start a new one, on your time, your degree, your schedule, no excuses, just opportunity. Visit suno.edu and make your next move today.
Get ready to rise, connect, and be inspired at the Phenomenal Woman Empowerment Conference. Join the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce on October 24th, 2025 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Xavier University of New Orleans, a day designated to celebrate the power, purpose, and potential of women from every walk of life. Let's honor phenomenal women making phenomenal moves, because when women rise, communities thrive. Learn more by calling 504-343-1138.
A message from the Greater New Orleans East Business Alliance. New Orleans East is primed for economic development and growth. The East has an abundance of commercial space and vacant land available. The opportunity for development is endless. Come be a part of the economic rebuild. For more information, please give us a call at 504-957-3568. That's 504-957-3568. Building a strong New Orleans East makes a stronger New Orleans.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
This is Andronika Morris, host of Put Housing First. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, where we will discuss how housing affects every aspect of our lives and what's necessary, what's needed to guarantee housing for all. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock as we dig down deep onto the issues that affect all of us.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Back to the Good Morning Show. It is 7:50 a.m. The babies are still going to school. Please be safe. Drive slowly. Watch for those school zones. They're going to get you click, click, click if you are at 22 miles per hour or 25 or 27, and you're going to have to pay. But stay safe. Drive slow enough. Watch the babies. Let them get to school safely, and you get going where you're going safely as well. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. I'm Will Sutton, and I'm here with Oliver Thomas, and we're talking about things that you might want to know and should know. And again, we're going to have some guests on in a bit talking about maternal health and COVID-19 vaccine. A lot of people wondering about where we stand with the COVID-19 vaccine. Well, we're going to talk about
COVID,
that.
period.
Yes.
Don't get covered in COVID.
No. So we'll be talking about that in a bit as well. But, we've been talking about the city budget.
Projected.
Okay.
Looming.
All
Looming.
right. I hear you. Projected. But let's put it this way. Projected.
Yeah.
When it's projected at 160 million versus a projected
Uh-huh.
at 65 million.
159
there's a different kind of
million.
projection.
There's a different kind of projection.
With where are we all?
But that is still nothing new. So if you notice a lot, I didn't panic. I'm a little more panicked now that we're getting into the weeds of the budget process right now, and they're talking about furloughs and layoffs, and which is unfortunate because city workers don't deserve that. They're talking about raising fees and stuff like that, and taxes and new charges, and the people in the city don't deserve that because the budget has grown so much post Katrina. It's many cases the budget is 4, 5, 6 times larger than it used to be in delivering fewer services that you can count on. I still don't understand that part of it. But when I say projected, there are accounts receivables out there that number in the millions that in the past, what the administration and the city council would do is get together and create, I'll never forget, Jim Singleton and the late Joe Giarrusso partnering with the administration to create a collections force that actually collected enough money that ended doomsday. So, but you don't seem to have that type of cooperation or transparency in government anymore. The one thing I discovered when I got back in government, and it was the reason why I did the open letter asking for a retreat, and I did it twice.
Right.
I said, let's get in the room because there's a political environment in this country, this state, and this city now where folk really don't want to talk to each other. And right now we're paying the consequences for it.
Yep. Well, we got a caller. Good morning, Galloway. You're on with Will Sutton and Oliver Thomas.
Good morning.
Good morning, Will, and good morning, Councilman Thomas. And first of all, Councilman Thomas, I want to say thank you for running. And I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Representative Alonzo Knox has brought to the constituents' attention in New Orleans that Entergy had received a $162 million loan. And the city council, only people that know about it is Helena Moreno and J.P. Morrell. Are you aware of this $162 million?
No,
loan?
No. A lot of the detail and the dealings with, if you'll remember me saying during my run for mayor, was that I was one of the few people that Energy wasn't endorsing, and that they didn't before, and they did now because there was too much that was happening with that company that seemed to not be as transparent as it should be, where too much of the burden was being placed on the ratepayers. And what Representative Knox has made one of his missions is uncovering some of the disparity in treatment and some of the lack of transparency that's happening with Entergy. And we're learning more each day, sir.
Well, thank you so much for being transparent about that, because that $162 million is really disturbing to me because the board of Entergy said they don't know anything about this loan.
Well, look, when Entergy built that $300+ million power generation plant that didn't work after Hurricane Ida, and I mean, to me, that was like, well, hold on a second. So you built this power generation plant so you could sell power in the open market, because it didn't work to service people here in this community. So hopefully at some point we'll get a council, or maybe we'll get a energy board representatives that's for us.
Hopefully, because, like I said, this 162 and nobody can account for it and only 2 people know about it. That makes you think what other kind of shady business deals they've been doing with other people.
Well,
but thank you for taking my call, and I will hang up and listen. Thank you.
What's done in the dark comes to light.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for your call, Galloway. You have a blessed day.
Yeah, be blessed, man.
All right. So let's deal with what he's talking about now, one of the things that happened during the campaign is that there were a number of people who supported you, a number of people who supported Royce Duplessis, a number of people who supported Helena Moreno. Not everybody supported someone because they were black.
There was more people who supported Helena Moreno. That's how she won.
Yeah,
It was
right,
math.
Right. But there were people who supported you or Royce Duplessis because they wanted to continue black leadership, as well as looking at the qualifications of the individuals. And there's still a feeling that with a white mayor that we're losing something. But certainly you weren't running just on I'm black.
No.
Or, at all.
No,
neither was Royce. Not simply I'm black.
Yeah. Well, I mean, elections have consequences, and different people have different thoughts, different ideology. They have different relationships. They have different intentions. Moon served differently from Dutch, and Skiro. And Dutch served differently from Moon. If you'll remember, one of Dutch Morial's famous speeches after he got elected was in Lehman Park. And my mom remembers that because that was her classmate, and she was proud of his election. When he said, looking from the lens of a black man, the city looked different, it looks different, and it will be different. And he talked about being disparaged. He talked about lacking certain access to even places and spaces where he was talking at that moment. And then Sidney got elected. He had a different take from Dutch in terms of development and what folk ought to do and our participation. And then Mark got elected, and then Nagin, and then Landrieu. And what do we know? During the Landrieu administration, the data center says black people lost wealth. They don't chronicle much of that time. Then Cantrell got elected, and it's a different political environment where council and mayor don't talk very much. The mayor's never been to my office. You didn't see me getting involved in a lot of the soap opera stuff because I'm a little too grown for that. I didn't even know that mattered to some people. And people were mad at me. Why wasn't you beating up on the mayor because of who she was with or where she traveled? There were bigger things to do, like deal with the deficit or deal with the budget. I would have loved to have seen more of our energy be about that than the other stuff. But I was raised under people like Jim Singleton and Dorothy and Georgia Russo, and I watched them not be as petty. Watch them be more big picture. So maybe my time in politics had passed because I have a different outlook. But yeah, consequences matter. I don't know what the administrative governance style of Mayor-elect Moreno and her team is going to be. I don't know who's going to be on her team. But what I do know is it'll be different, and folks should be engaged. But let me say this: if race mattered, and I think that question's from an African American, then people didn't vote like it because Senator Duplessis, myself, and Mayor-elect Moreno, we all three of us split the black vote
clearly,
basically equally.
Clearly.
White people block voted. White people said we don't care about the qualifications of who those other African Americans or other whites are. We're going to block vote behind this person.
Yes.
And black folk didn't do that. And so if that's an issue for you, you reap what you sow. And because they can usually count on us splitting our vote, then we just hope and we pray that we don't have sore winners. I've kind of famous on this show for talking about sore winners. I don't, as being a former athlete, I don't understand sore winners. Let's hope the mayor-elect and her team are not sore winners. Let's hope they don't go on a revenge tour. And let's hope that she and her team are successful. We live here. We live here. We want to close the disparity gap. We want to close the wealth gap. We want city services to work. We want to be safe. I wanted to have an Office of Education the first time ever, not to tell the superintendent of the school board what to do, but to make sure that whatever we're doing from public policy, from city services, that is supporting our kids. What do we know? 69% of violent juvenile offenders are functionally illiterate.
Well, you won't be in that seat, but do you still think that would be a good thing to do?
Yeah. Look. One of the reasons why I ran, and people said, hey, man, you could have been comfortable staying in your own seat. No. I'm the only person in history of the city to be elected to 3 positions on the council. I had been there, done that. And mayors, governors, and presidents, prime ministers, they make changes. Mm-hmm. When you have the top spot in the country, in the nation, in the state, and in the city, you can impact change. Now, folks don't want to hear that, but the city council is the legislative branch of government.
Right.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
We enact public policy. We're the Congress. We're the state legislature. Period. Once you give that budget to that mayor with all of those thousands of employees and all those department heads in that cabinet, you hope that it's dispensed the right way, used the right way, and it impacts us positively.
All right. You're listening to Will Sutton and Oliver Thomas right here on WBOK AM. You're hearing our voices. We welcome yours on the talk line, 504-582-9422. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we'll be talking some more because this is a talk radio show.
That's what you do. You talk.
Yep, we talk. So you're listening to WBOK, 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about. All day long. You got it.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans. New Schools for New Orleans is excited to announce that our Katrina 20 exhibit, After the Storm, 20 Years of Change and Progress in New Orleans Public Education, is now open to the public. You can experience this powerful look at how our schools have transformed since Katrina at the New Orleans Public School Library's main branch, 219 Loyola Avenue, during regular business hours, now through December. Bring your friends, family members, students, and colleagues. Looking for a group visit for your school or organization? Email us at info@nsno.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. An online petition with nearly 32,000 signatures wants country artist George Strait to replace Bad Bunny for the halftime show. Here's James Taylor, a black politics professor at the University of San Francisco.
People are choosing to make the halftime show site the site of contention around what should be presented to America as American culture.
Supporters say the show should honor American music roots. Former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre's new book, Independent, reflects on her time in the Biden administration and the Democratic Party's dysfunction leading to its 2024 defeat. She's also defending former President Biden against claims about his mental acuity. And Indiana Pacers rookie Cam Jones was arrested after a brief police chase on I-65 in Indianapolis. He's charged with felony resisting arrest and reckless driving. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
right here on WBOK 1230 AM.
Yeah.
I am Will Sutton, and right
Oliver
here is
Thomas.
Oliver Thomas.
504-582-9422. Yes, man, look, elections have consequences. The one thing that you can say is that the white community knew what and who they wanted. I think there were 3 candidates that they really coalesced around. Mary-elect Marino, J.P. Morrell, and Matt Willard, councilman-elect, Matthew Willard. They were
votes show that.
And the votes show that. The votes show that the African-American community didn't think very much of me, Senator Duplessis, or many other African-American candidates out there. So another question for me as a social scientist or as a historian is that what didn't black leadership do to endear itself to black folk that white leadership or moderate or conservative leadership did to endear itself to the white community, where it was basically a sealed deal that they would block vote for the candidates that they liked. So that tells me that there's some work that has to be done. There's some relationships that have to be built. But in many cases, our community, we have to look at ourselves.
We do.
504-582-9422.
All right. And we are right here on the Good Morning Show, and we're talking the talk because that's what we do.
And I was told consistently, and I understood what I was getting to. I was told, Will, by a lot of notable people in the business community, and then by a lot of leaders, I'm talking about high-ranking people in the press, that because of what I went through in my background, that they did not want a mayor who had made a mistake like I had made in my past to be representing the city. I was told that. I thought that if I conducted myself in a way that I could overcome that, I thought that the fact that I had been knocked down and got up would be a great example for a city that struggles. I thought that someone like me being mayor who had made a mistake and overcome that could show that anybody could do, but I was told that they didn't want that image. And in the Whisper campaign, it worked. And, hey, man, I'm a big boy. I got my butt kicked. I wasn't trying to finish second or third.
No.
Anybody who's competing, say you comfortable finish second or third, you don't need to compete. I was trying to win. I didn't. But I'm not going to be mad about it.
All right. Well, we are going to welcome Dr. Koyota to the show, the Good Morning Show. We're going to have some conversation about maternal health. So let's, good morning, Dr. Koyota. Am I saying that name right?
You're almost right. So it's Dr. Toyosi.
Toyosi Okoromo.
Okay.
Okoromo.
Okoromo. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm hooked on phonics.
My name is a mouthful.
Yeah.
So
Dr. Toyosi Okoromo.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Hey, go OT.
Hey, man, you deal with a lot of names here.
Well, you're the Chief Medical Officer at United Healthcare. Is that right?
That is correct.
Well, wonderful. We are happy to have you on the show today.
Absolutely.
And we want to talk about the impact of maternal health on women, in particular right here in Louisiana, but also beyond. And we know that 1 in 4 women don't begin prenatal care in the first trimester. How important is it to get going in the first trimester as opposed to waiting?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm really honored that you would give me time on this show. Pregnancy care is critical.
Yeah.
You're very right. 1 in 4 women do not begin prenatal care in the first trimester. And pregnancy by itself can feel very overwhelming, especially if it's your first pregnancy. Regardless, even if you've been pregnant before, every pregnancy is different. And when you're pregnant, there are many changes that are going on in your body. You have physical changes that are going on. You also have emotional changes that are going on. As soon as you suspect that you're pregnant, you need to call your doctor. When you call your doctor, together you can come up with your pregnancy plan, right? And that pregnancy plan needs to be customized to you. Your doctor will go over your risk and your family history as well as your personal history. They will talk about your mental well-being as well as your physical health. And they'll talk about how to reduce your risks for an unhealthy pregnancy and delivery, offering guidance to you so that your pregnancy can be a whole lot more manageable. So along with that pregnancy plan, they would likely have you schedule prenatal visits. So those are scheduled times you need to go back in and check in with your doctor, right? You need to show up at those appointments regularly. Not only do you need to be seeing your doctor and your doctor's team, you're also going to need to set up a support system. Your support system needs to be both at home, right, in the place where you and your baby are going to live, and you have to have a medical support system as well. Sometimes your doctor might recommend you getting a non-traditional provider as part of that support system, right? So doulas is what we call a non-traditional provider who can support the mom as well as the family through the pregnancy, through the childbirth, as well as after delivery. And doulas are available to most Louisiana Medicaid plans today. Starting January 1st, 2026, they will be available across all Medicaid plans. So if you would like to find out about if one is available to you, check with your insurance provider, call the number in the back of your insurance card, and check if some of those services may be available to you.
Well, that's a big change starting January 1, 2026. I'm certainly aware of doulas. My grandson's mom had the assistance of a doula, and it was really, really helpful. But if there's additional coverage and support coming in January of 2026, that's huge.
Doulas are a key part of, especially for underrepresented women. The great thing about doulas is they're people in your community. And usually the right doula for you will understand who you are and where you're coming from and what you need. And they can help advocate for you. They can help support that pregnancy. And we truly do have evidence that when a doula is involved, pregnancy outcomes are better.
So Dr. Oku, I'm gonna shorten it up, right? Dr. Oku, no disrespect. So let's talk about those studies that Great Expectations did, right? And when you talk about infant mortality in Louisiana, we've always lagged, especially with outcomes, maternal outcomes and infant mortality. We've always lagged behind much of the nation. But also those studies that were done here in the city, when you talk about African-American female mothers and the need for more education and maternal education, where are we now? And why decades later, even after those first studies by Great Expectations and others, we still deal with the same problem?
It's a number of situations that lead us into having poor health outcomes. There are well-documented socioeconomic factors that do get in the way of us getting prenatal care. Oftentimes, there are documented studies of people having negative experiences with the healthcare system and choosing to not engage with the healthcare system. Even in medical education and medical practice, we've come a long way to make sure we have more providers that look and feel like the average person, including underrepresented women. But sometimes those providers still work in systems that by themselves occasionally act as barriers. So yes, you're right. We've historically had poor outcomes. And even in more recent times, American Health Rankings data shows that maternal deaths in the U.S. have increased by 34% between 2018 and 2022. In 2022, we had the first time in 2 decades where infant mortality also rose. And so there still remains a lot of work to be done to help us get to better health outcomes, which is part of why we're having this conversation. Regular prenatal care is one of the steps, a woman can take to at least understand, identify some of those risks earlier on in the pregnancy, and have a care team to help, reduce the likelihood of those risks leading to poor outcomes for both mom and baby.
So Dr. Oku, given those studies and given the disparity that we know exists out there, especially when you talk about the African American community in urban areas, well, really not urban areas, but access to quality care. Are there things that we can do that when you talk about lifestyle, nutrition, or there things that you can do in the school system or in the university system, or can the medical community have some educational programs because you don't have neighborhood clinics anymore like you used to. The cost of healthcare and access to quality care is actually in many cases worse today in disparate communities than it was before. What can start to happen around education and getting information directly to people, other than what we're doing here?
Education is a huge part of what we need to do, and we have to continue doing it no matter how long we've been doing it. However, though, advocacy is also important. So earlier on, we talked about doulas. Doulas are trained advocates, and advocacy is about really getting to the point where we as healthcare providers and the healthcare system can understand what in particular about you, right, do we need to keep in mind to help you get to the best outcome that you need. When you do go to your doctor's office, your doctor visits, write down those things that are important to you. Talk about your family history. The mothers in your family, what was their birth history? What challenges do they have? What challenges have you seen around you? What are you concerned about? What are your own questions about the things that matter to you? What types of healthy foods do you need to eat? And foods that you would like to eat, not foods that are in a brochure somewhere that you never touch, right? What are the things that you eat? Talk about those things. What things do you need to stop eating? What things do you need to start eating? What changes do you expect your body to go through during pregnancy? During every stage of pregnancy, what symptoms should you be concerned about? What are some of those things that if you notice, you need to call or go to the doctor right away or the emergency room? How are you feeling? Or are you feeling overwhelmed during the pregnancy? What are your mental health concerns? What types of activities should you engage in or not engage in? Are there substances you're using? So a lot of times we see substance use disorders or opioid use disorders that compromise outcomes with both mom and baby. Are you taking things that you really shouldn't be taking? And how can your healthcare team support your pregnancy journey if that happens to be a part of your medical history? What vitamins should you be taking? How soon should you be taking them? Those are some of the things that really, in addition to education, advocacy, learning about your own health risks, understanding what it's going to take to mitigate your own health risks, and having a team that truly supports you throughout your pregnancy journey is critical.
We're talking to Dr. Toyosi Okurumu, Chief Medical Officer at United Healthcare, about maternal health,
and things you need to know and should do. I have a question for you. I know we're focused on the woman carrying a baby to birth. How important is it for the partner, spouse, father, the family to be involved during the pregnancy?
It is extremely critical. You touched on a point that we don't talk about often enough. No woman makes a baby on their own, right? Yeah. And a baby serves as continuity of the family. And babies are exactly that. And with pregnancy, it's important first, as much as possible to have planned that pregnancy and have desired that pregnancy. Whatever your circumstances are in the pregnancy, all the partners and the family that will partner together to raise that baby should and must be a part of that care. When I was pregnant, my partner went with me to all my appointments. We wrote down our, concerns together, and they were addressed. And everyone had a role in making sure that pregnancy was as healthy as it could be. So yes, partners, parents, friends, sisters, brothers, uncle, aunts, everyone, neighbors, everyone in that community is a part of the family unit that will raise that child and should be a part of that pregnancy. So please, women, if you're listening, that community for you, whoever that is, they should be a part of that journey too, engaging with you with all of the activities that we just spoke about.
So as those who are pregnant or thinking about being pregnant,
get to the doctor
and visit the doctor. And what are your suggestions for that visit? So let's just say somebody just discovered this week that they're pregnant, and maybe they're in a situation where this was not the timing that they anticipated, so they're feeling some kind of way. But they're pregnant and they're going to have the baby. They're in a bit of a shell shock because this was not part of the plan. How do you get them to come and have that visit and start doing the things that they need to do?
Well, and Doc, please add to that Will's question is that I think I heard you said earlier, which was news to me, especially someone who's been part of making babies before, yes. Right? That every person is individual. So how do you have an individual maternal health plan for you?
Yes.
Not just your race, not just your gender, but how do you say, hey, look, this is my DNA, this is my makeup, this is how I eat, this is how I live, this is how my lifestyle. Expound on that while you answer Will's question, please, Dr. Oku.
Okay, I am glad to. So the first question is about realizing you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And it comes as a bit of a surprise.
Yeah. The Immaculate Conception.
What did you say?
The Immaculate Conception.
Immaculate Conception, absolutely. That's a very vulnerable place to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first thing I'm going to just acknowledge is that once you become pregnant, it dawns on you that your life will be different going forward.
Yes.
Your body will be different. And your plans might need to be modified. It's a very vulnerable place to be psychologically and mentally. And so it becomes important to find trusted people who can support you on that journey. And as part of that, also realize that your body will go through changes. And as you're dealing with the psychological changes, the physical changes also can feel overwhelming. I mean, there are women who get pregnant and they get so nauseous they're not able to keep down any food. And so feeling psychologically overwhelmed and also having changes in your body that are overwhelming can be a lot for anyone to just manage, which is why getting care and getting that support team established as quickly as possible becomes really, really important, right? And yes, as much as you might be physically or emotionally overwhelmed, you cannot ignore the fact that your body is going to change with that baby that's growing on the inside of it. And you cannot ignore your own health because you as the mom who carries that baby, your health is just as important. And so please, even if you weren't planning for that pregnancy and it's coming as a surprise, please still get an appointment and see your doctor as quickly as possible so that you can establish that support team to really help manage that pregnancy and optimize your own well-being as well as the baby's health being.
Well, first of all, Doc, thank you for what you're doing with this education. Will, one of the things that I've noticed, especially getting back into government, and I'll just go from where we grew up in the Lower Ninth Ward. Remember the Lower Ninth Ward Clinic?
Yep.
Was there. If you didn't go see Dr. Carter or some of the folk who, one of the families, physicians that come out of our community, you could always go. But then neighborhood clinics went away. Federal government stopped funding neighborhood clinics. It took me almost 3 years to get Manning's Children's Hospital, to open a pediatrics office in New Orleans East. And Doc, what I didn't understand about that, why wouldn't there be more attention to the East, was that's where more black babies are being born than anywhere else in the region. It would seem to me that providers for pediatrics or maternal health would be tracking the numbers to see where babies are being born. And so it took me almost 3 years getting them to look at sites to finally have a pediatric center. So what has to happen from a policy position and from medical institutions where we don't have neighborhood clinics anymore, they're closed, and access to maternal health or just overall general health care seems to be tougher today than it used to be, Doc?
Advocacy is everything.
Okay.
Just like you said, the data was there, but who's looking at it? And who was raising their hands to say, please look at the data. Please bring those services here. There are people who need them. Even when we talk about the data and the outcomes, we know because, when people talk about data, it's one thing to read it from a news report. It's another thing to know of a cousin, a friend, a sister who had that poor maternal health outcome. Telling our stories become a part of that. When we tell our stories, and we tell them very often, and we write them down, and we publish them, people get better sensitized to what our needs are. And when we show up and we advocate and we find people who will listen to our stories and help putting the resources to help us get to better outcomes, it's a large part of what we're doing and what we must continue to do.
So, again, I know we're going to have to wrap up in a short moment and go to break. How can people touch base with you or your colleagues to find out more, to talk to somebody first and talk about the possibility of visiting if they have concerns, if they have some questions, because I know you want them to come in? How can they reach out?
Sure. So at United Healthcare, we actually have what we call the Healthy Pregnancy Quiz. Earlier on, you talked about your own individual maternal plan, right? The Healthy Pregnancy Quiz will ask you certain questions and really try to come up with what your profile looks like, things you need to know and do differently. We also have a website called everypregnancy.com. Every pregnancy, these resources are available to everyone. We want you to feel supported, informed, and cared for. Look at the back of your insurance card, call that number out there, find resources. There are resources even for after you've had the baby. You have postpartum resources, and postpartum visits are just as important, even after you've had the baby, because there are certain health conditions and mental health conditions like postpartum depression that can happen after the pregnancy, after you've had the baby. There are resources for breastfeeding and resources for supplies to support both mom and baby once the baby is here. So please go to everypregnancy.com to find helpful resources, to find helpful information. And like I said, think about your own individual maternal plan. Find a team to support you that you feel supported by. And in all honesty, the first time you make a team, if you find that that team isn't working for you, please change your team. All right. Having a team is the most important thing. If the initial team you establish isn't helping you, move your information, move your care, and keep going until you find that team that you feel heard by and supported by.
Well, Doc, first of all, thank you for valuable information. Will you promise to come back as we track data on maternal health, and especially when you talk about maternal life expectancy and infant mortality? You're going to come back and continue to talk with us?
I am glad to come back as many times as you'd like me to.
Dr. Toyosi Okurumo, Chief Medical Officer at United Healthcare. And when we come back after the break, we're going to continue the discussion about health with Meredith McInturf, Manager of Public Health Emergencies, Environmental Health Unit, and Nadja Kojo, one of our great culture bearers, and Songstress from Heaven with Ashe Nola and a health ambassador. CDC's recommendations about COVID. Hey, COVID ain't over.
No, it ain't.
Don't get covered in COVID.
Yep. This is Will Sutton and Oliver Thomas. When we come back, stay tuned for that. This is WBOK, 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Are you ready? A fresh voice in the city is here, bringing you the beats, the culture, and the stories that matter. From local music and food to real talk on what's happening in the streets, we've got you covered. Stay tapped in. Follow us on all platforms at WBOK 1230 for the latest updates and exclusive content. Your city, your culture, your news. Don't just hear about it, be about it. Follow us at WBOK 1230 now.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. New Orleans City Council members will hold an emergency meeting today to discuss new revelations about a projected $160 million budget deficit. Yesterday, the council shared its concerns that the city will be unable to make payroll for the remainder of the year. Now they want to hear from the Cantrell administration about what they knew and when. That meeting is scheduled for 3 p.m. inside council chambers. And this morning, New Orleans police are asking for your help finding a man accused of peeping through a child's window. Officials are looking for 32-year-old Vonshay Ross, who they say was caught on camera back in July looking into the bedroom of a child in New Orleans East. If you know where he is, contact Crime Stoppers at 504-822-1111. Then some changes are coming to Carnival season. Rex is moving its reviewing grandstands for Carnival 2026 in front of the Josephine, a renovated former church turned event space on Napoleon Avenue. This follows an issue in 2023 when the Queen missed her toast. And finally, good news for basketball fans. The Pelicans open up regular season play tonight. They will face off against the Grizzlies in Memphis at 7 p.m. The Pels then host the Spurs inside the Smoothie King Center Friday night. That's also at 7. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU. Have a great day.
Wake up your taste buds at Inner City Brews and Bistro, home of the one-of-a-kind peach cobbler pancakes. Start your day with our soulful breakfast favorites. Then come back for bold cocktails and those oh-so-good Creole flavors that always hit just right. In the heart of Tremay, every bite feels like home. Doors open at 8:30 a.m. and find us at 1401 St. Bernard Avenue. Inner City Brews and Bistros, uniquely New Orleans, deliciously unforgettable.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
Meet Leanna, a part-time chef and full-time mom. In the past, Leanna didn't have health insurance because she didn't think she could afford it. What she didn't realize is she qualified for Medicaid. She loves the coverage and peace of mind that comes with high-quality care. The kind of care you get with Healthy Blue. This is Medicaid, and it's for more people than you think. maybe even you. To see if you qualify, go to myhealthybluela.com.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Store, Pastor David Impartian Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show right here on WBOK. 12:30 a.m. It is 8:37. My goodness, 8:37 already.
Already, but
my goodness.
Isn't it something else how time flies?
Oh man, it is indeed. You're listening to the Good Morning Show. The talk line is 504-582-9422. You hear us, but we'd like to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Especially as we jump into this conversation with Meredith McInturf. From the manager of the Public Health Emergencies Environmental Health Unit, because COVID is still out there, folks. And I know people who have caught COVID, and people are acting like it's over. It's not.
I know
over.
I had it and got over it. I was like, what's this funny feeling? I thought it might have been COVID.
So welcome back to the Good Morning Show.
Yeah.
We're
Thank you
happy
for
to
having
have
me.
you again.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're coming at this time as we're moving deeper into October and the cooler weather. We're getting comfortable. There's going to be more people inside. How are we doing with COVID?
Yeah, but Meredith, for me, right?
Right.
And folks who may be like me out there listening, as my auntie would say, tell us who you is.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what you do.
That's
good.
And what you do.
Yeah. So I'm Meredith. I work for the New Orleans Health Department under Dr. Avegno. And so our team does a lot of planning around vaccines. And we do that year round. It's not just during the fall, but this is kind of go time, right? And so we're trying to make sure that everyone is protected ahead of the holidays. And so our team is out there, talking to all of our healthcare providers, our pharmacy providers, our physicians, and trying to collect the information that they're seeing in their clinics or, at community events, and trying to connect people with the right services. So a lot of times our work is just connecting all of those pieces together and making sure that people have the most up-to-date recommendations, which the recommendations this fall have been all over the place. So we're coming here today to set the record straight on what those are.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell us.
Yeah. So
what do you recommend?
Right. So COVID vaccines are great for everyone, over the age of 6 months. And so we do recommend that you still have that conversation with your healthcare provider before you go and get it. But we recognize that that's not a reality for every New Orleans resident. They don't have the time to take off of work and to miss school and things like that to go have that conversation with your doctor. So what we're trying to do is bring COVID vaccines into the community. So you don't have to go to the doctor necessarily. You'd have a healthcare provider at a community event that you can talk to ask those questions to see if it's appropriate for you or not. And so, we want to make sure that people know they don't need a prescription to get that COVID vaccine anymore. But that was a reality for a while.
There have been people saying you gotta have one.
Yeah.
And so for folks, this is New Orleans, right?
Right.
When people take shots, you take medical shots, you shoot shots at a bar, right?
Right.
So for folk who've had more COVID shots than shots at the local bar, but haven't had a shot in a while,
right?
What do you recommend to them?
Yeah, I'd recommend to start that up again. So it's like a flu shot.
So what do they need to do if they want to start taking their shots again?
Yeah, you can talk to your doctor and see how many you've already had.
Okay, you just go take a shot?
You can just go take a shot. Yes.
Okay.
You don't need to do that.
Get a shot.
Yeah, you can get a shot. Maybe not take a shot. But you can go to any of those events. We have the ability to look up your information in the state vaccine record too. So if you don't know how many shots you've had, we can tell you at those events, which is really nice. So any healthcare provider in the state of Louisiana can do that. And so really, when you're coming to these events, you can say, hey, I know what I want at this event, or you can say, hey, I'm not sure what I need. Can you help me just make that decision? And we're willing to do that. So we're not going to recommend everything for everyone necessarily. We also are offering at our community events flu, COVID, pneumonia, and shingles vaccines. And so those are really hard to get. And particularly for those that are uninsured, they can be quite expensive if you're trying to get, multiple. So using this opportunity between now and the end of the year to get those free vaccines at some of our community events is a real cost saving too.
And we know initially when this whole COVID thing started, there were 2 or 3 different kinds of COVID shots.
Yes.
Have we narrowed it down to one that really works better for everybody, or are there still...
There's still multiple brands.
Multiple brands.
There are multiple brands. We currently in our community events are using the Pfizer brand. It's been renamed, but essentially it's the Pfizer vaccine, but they're all about equally effective.
And so what about the seniors among us, those 65 and up? Should they look at this a little different way, or just take the same thing as everybody else?
It's pretty much the same for seniors, but we would encourage them to get it, quickly, because it is one of those things that it's going to help protect your immune system. And we know as we age, or if we have chronic medical conditions, even at a younger age, that COVID can, quickly become something more serious than just missing a few days of work. It can mean hospital time, or, even worse. So it's really important to make sure that we're as protected as we possibly can be going into that holiday season. If we're planning on seeing family members and spending time, at Saints games and tailgates and things like that, I mean, now is the time to be doing this.
So as a public person, and I haven't had a COVID shot in a while.
Yeah.
Right. But I've had a bunch of them.
Sure.
But I'm more than sure I have felt kind of funny at times, but then got over it quickly. What do you recommend that people do if they suspect that they had something that's out kind of not normal, or if they've had COVID but then got over it?
Yeah. So I think it's always a good idea to, check in. If you already have a regular doctor's appointment scheduled, just tell them that and see if, there are other things going on, because there are a lot of other respiratory viruses that are very similar to COVID, right? And so it's hard to say for sure if that was, without real testing. I think a lot of the testing efforts have, pulled back. There are still free, or not free, but you can get testing kits, at-home testing kits at your CVS and Walgreens and other pharmacy locations. And a lot of times now those tests include both flu and COVID. So it'll help you kind of.
That's helpful.
Yeah. So not all of them, but there are some out there, and they're pretty cost, effective, and they're pretty quick.
So let's talk about flu, COVID, shingles.
Yeah.
There are folks who are saying, "Oh, I'll get to it. I'll get to it.
Yeah.
I'll get to it.
Right.
I'll get to it. Yeah, I really am going to get to it."
Yeah.
And they've delayed.
Yeah.
But you've got free community vaccine events. So let's say they say, okay, I'm going to do it, especially now that I know somewhere I can go.
Yeah.
Good idea, bad idea for them to just kind of load up, give me all you got on a single day. Because I've talked with pharmacists who say, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'll give you one at a time, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
It is okay. I would say depending on how your body reacts to vaccines, everyone has a different reaction. And so I personally probably would not do all 4 on the same day, but I would maybe split them up and do 2 and 2 or something like that. I have seen people at some of our events get, 3 or 4 if they feel like, it doesn't impact them too much. I will say the other thing is that one of the nice things about the partnership we currently have with Genoa Healthcare, who's doing our vaccines, is that you can also walk into their clinic at any point on St. Philip in Central City and get any of these vaccines not at our community event. So if you say, I want to do 2 of them at this event, and I want to do, it's on St. Philip Street, right near the intersection of Simon Boulevard and St. Philip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just walk in.
Just walk in and get it there if you don't want to do it all on the same day. But again, we'll be at many locations around the community. And so across New Orleans East, and we'll be on the West Bank and, kind of moving it around because we know not everyone is going to easily get to Central City.
Okay. But you and one of those community vaccine events is coming up on October 30th.
It is, yeah. We're really excited about Boo and Michoud in partnership with Vietnamese Initiative. Yeah.
All right, Michoud, get a little shout out.
Yeah, it is a trunk or treat event that's going to be hosted by Viet or Vietnamese Initiatives in Economic Training, and we're really excited about partnering with them to get a lot of their seniors in their community vaccinated, but also the kids, and making it a very family-friendly event right ahead of Halloween, so that people feel like, they've got an option, right in their community at that community center. And then similarly at Joe Brown Park that Saturday, so November 1st, the day after Halloween, we'll have a big event in partnership with both Children's Hospital to do our younger children's vaccines, and then also our adult vaccines, as well as other health fair activities with the American Heart Association.
All right, so that's October 30th.
And November 1st.
Then November 1.
Yeah.
That are possibilities. And then there's another place that folks can go.
Yeah.
Just as a walk-in.
Absolutely.
And that's whether you have a doctor or not.
That's correct. No prescription needed, no doctor needed, no insurance or ID needed for any of these.
So you don't have to pull out your debit or credit card.
Correct.
Okay.
You just need to know your name and your birthday.
That sounds like a good price to keep yourself healthy.
And I love the partnership with Ashe and Naja Kojo, who's a renowned artist and vocalist here, but also is one of our culture bears.
Yes.
The partnership with Ashe. Health is part of our culture. It should be part of our culture.
Absolutely.
And taking advantage of health opportunities. Boo and Michoud. You know
How
I
about
like
that.
There's an East Boy and there's a Night Water.
All right.
I like that.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Anything you want to close out?
And I was going to say, tell us how folks can get more information.
Absolutely. So we have new events popping up every week. So we have new partners reaching out and saying, hey, I want a vaccine event in my community, around this time. And so we're still adding events to our calendar. So if you go to NOLA.gov/health or NOLA.gov/vaccines, you'll see our whole community event calendar, and keep checking because things are updating, day by day at this point. So we are trying to make it to every neighborhood in the city and making sure that everyone has access to these great free vaccines before the end of the year.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We've been talking with Meredith McInturf about the COVID vaccine, and she just finished wrapping up talking about free opportunities for your flu, your COVID, and your shingles shots that so many of us need. You might think you're up to date. Go and check it out and ask.
And all of our events are fun. Just come see us anyway. Even if you don't need a shot, we have other resources and other cool things to share.
Wonderful. It's 8:48 a.m. We're going to have to get out of here and make room for the front porch. We're going to go to break for a minute and then come right back. We got a few more things left for you before we close out. This is WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
After a slightly warmer day for Tuesday, the cold front has passed through. Now we're dealing with some much better feeling weather. It will be on the breezy side as well and becoming mostly sunny as we go throughout the day. High temperatures will be seasonal for this time of the year, looking at the upper 70s to low 80s for us, staying dry, and another nice day for Thursday, looking at weekend rain chances to come. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Reshaw.
New Orleans, are you ready? A fresh voice in the city is here, bringing you the beats, the culture, and the stories that matter. From local music and food to real talk on what's happening in the streets. We've got you covered. Stay tapped in. Follow us on all platforms at WBOK 1230 for the latest updates and exclusive content. Your city, your culture, your news. Don't just hear about it, be about it. Follow WBOK 1230 now.
A message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard Parish? You may be exposed to harmful chemicals like phthalates, BPA, and flame retardants found in everyday products but linked to serious health risks. That's why the Community Scientist, a program of Rise St. James, brings you clear, science-based facts that protect your health and our environment. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit risestjames.org today.
You've got responsibilities, but that doesn't mean your dreams are on hold. At Southern University at New Orleans, our evening and weekend college is designed with your life in mind. Finish your degree, start a new one, on your time, your degree, your schedule. No excuses, just opportunity. Visit suno.edu and make your next move today.
Get ready to rise, connect, and be inspired at the Phenomenal Woman Empowerment Conference. Join the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce on October 24th, 2025 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Xavier University of New Orleans. A day designated to celebrate the power, purpose, and potential of women from every walk of life. Let's honor phenomenal women making phenomenal moves. Because when women rise, communities thrive. Learn more by calling 504-343-1138.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060. Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryan Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Show. It's 8:53 a.m. You got to be there at 9 a.m. You got a few minutes. Depends on how far you got to go.
If you're late, don't rush.
There are a number of things that 15 to 20 minutes away, so you might be a little late. Yeah. Just get there safely rather than rush and try to get in the parking lot at 9.
You're not
even going to get up to check in until 9:05.
And don't do like Mr. Magoo, right? And be so reckless that you don't get in a wreck, but you cause everybody else
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Take your time. If you're late, you're late already. Don't use the same story. Your dog had kittens. Your goldfish hatched puppies. Just have a new one that the boss didn't hear last.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, and you can just make sure that you have driven safe enough that you be able to go in and tell the story rather than find yourself and others
That's
in
right.
the
Chief
hospital.
Eddie Compass, if you're out there listening, man, we know everybody misses you, man. But we holding it down, Chief.
Well, we got some other things coming up, and but we only have a few minutes before the front porch is going on. So I'm going to tell you real quick that I did a column about President Donald Trump's nomination of Louisiana Supreme Court Justice Will Crane. He nominated the Louisiana Supreme Court Associate Justice on Monday, and I popped this out on yesterday. And so it's online if you want to read it. Let me just say this. I don't write about a lot of nominations, but this is the conservative of the conservatives of the conservatives on the Louisiana Supreme Court.
No doubt.
As I say in the column, yes, he did support a second majority black Supreme Court district, and I applaud him for that.
Yeah.
But you look at a number of his other decisions, and it's like, what are you thinking? Even when some of his conservative colleagues went another way, he dissented or he just made ridiculous statements. And that is dangerous for a lifetime appointment. We don't have time to talk more about that. Well, but I just want to say that if you want to,
I support another I support a second black congressional district or minority district, but bring back the Confederacy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, something like that. So if you want to read it, it's on NOLA.com. But I'm so glad that you joined us, OT, today. I hope you liked it enough that maybe you come back tomorrow.
Man, look, I'm gonna come back tomorrow.
All right.
May do some guest appearances, while we chart out what's going to be next. But got a lot of work to do.
Let's say.
Yeah.
So today we have an emergency meeting.
Yeah, an emergency budget meeting. Yeah. Hey, I mean, after the breaking news yesterday, layoffs, not meeting payroll, and things that I asked about over a month ago that I was told no wouldn't happen. Emergency meeting is due, but there's a lot of work that
people can
needs to be
tune
done.
into that.
And people can tune in. It's for 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock
today. Yep. So
and there'll be other budget hearings this week.
Yeah, we're gonna. We have to keep working until we adopt the formal budget by December 31st, and the charter says it has to happen by then. And what you hope is that you will have adopted a balanced budget. I'm hoping where we will find more revenue that's been uncollected, that we can reduce the projected deficit to as low as possible. We don't have to lay off people, miss payroll, and we don't have to have tax increases and fee increases on the public. That's
a lot.
This is a very difficult time for people right now. They don't need to be compounded with that level of bad news as they try to, take care of their families, paying rising insurance costs, rising taxes, property taxes. Something needs to be done to finally give the public some relief.
We still need to look back and see how did we get here. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well,
there is a level of accountability, background and information.
Let me say this.
But meanwhile, we're at a place where we need to fix it.
Let me say this. No one can point fingers. What needs to happen now is everybody bears some responsibility. That's the adult thing. You get in a room, you try to work it out. But also, I talked about the state earlier. I mean, the state has put so many mandated cost increases on the city. And I keep trying to tell our state partners, right, stop trying to take over the city of New Orleans and help the city of New Orleans. We have 2 bills that potentially are going to cut $20+ million out of the city budget that the state passed to give exemptions and some breaks without even thinking how it would impact the city of New Orleans and our budget. But the state consistently does that. They want us to be the cash cow, but they don't want to take the city of New Orleans into consideration when you talk about revenue sharing or what their Senate bills and House bills, the impact, especially when you talk about revenue or cost mandates, the impact that it has on our budget.
All right. So we know what's next for you today, continue your job as city councilman for District E. And we know that you continue that role until mid-January. And we know that you're coming back tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But what's next for OT?
Well,
at least tell us, what are you thinking?
Well, first of all, I heard the people who didn't vote for me, they said, go away. Right? So maybe that's for the listening audience. What do y'all think OT should do next? I love this city. I'm not going anywhere. I'm an older man with young kids, so I can't retire. So maybe for the listening audience, maybe they'll chime in on Facebook or call in tomorrow and say, hey, OT, you ought to do this. Now, the ones who told me to go away, I heard y'all, right? I lost, right? I heard y'all.
Okay.
But
so maybe we'll take some time tomorrow and talk about that.
What should we do next?
I have ideas.
Okay.
Maybe some other people have some ideas.
We'll see what their ideas are. Call 504-582-9422. What should OT do?
All right. You're listening to WBOK, 12:30 a.m. And up next is the front porch.
Not the side of the back porch.
Nope, the front porch. WBOK, 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.